Yahoo Sports Radio and YahooSportsRadio.com. YahooSportsRadio.com. Proud in 2013 to be broadcasting live from the Quicken Loans Studios.
Very high expectations for the Denver Broncos across the NFL. That was earlier this preseason. Peyton Manning, a touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas, KOA on the call. Let's go out to Denver. Our next guest covers the Broncos for MileHighReport.com. Jon Heath is on the program. Jon, welcome to the show. When you look at Von Miller, he has that 6-game suspension from the NFL. What's been the reaction the past 24 hours or so around the Broncos franchise and from the fans there as to their reaction of Von Miller's 6-game suspension?
Obviously, a lot of the fans are upset with Miller, of course, but I'd say the same amount that are upset with Miller are mad at the NFL for the whole situation and how they handled it. But as far as the team goes, it's been a lot of, next man up, we're going to step up, and we're just going to get through it. And when you look at their schedule, it's not that rough of a 6 games to go without him. So they're just going to plug some guys in while he's out, and then he'll come back in Week 7 for the Colts, and they'll just keep rolling.
Yeah, it seems like when players get suspended or injured, the mantra is next man up. Who is that next man up for Denver? Who do they expect to fill the shoes, so to speak, of Von Miller during this 6-game suspension?
In their base defense, it'll be Nate Irving. They have him at outside linebacker, and in nickel, Miller's been defensive end throughout all of training camp, and it'll probably be Shawn Phillips there a lot. Shawn Phillips, and when he's healthy, Derek Wolfe will be there as well, with Robert Ayers on the other side. But it'll be a lot of Nate Irving, who's had a really good preseason, and Shawn Phillips, who anybody in the AFC West knows that he can get after the quarterbacks. He had like 9 half sacks last year, so they're not too worried about getting after the quarterback. It'll be more in their base defense that they'll miss him.
Jon Heath joining us from MileHighReport.com here on Yahoo Sports Radio. When you look at this defense, there's no question that Von Miller is the leader of this crew. Now he's gone for 6 games. How do the Broncos change this defense, if any? Because we all see what Von Miller brings to this team week in and week out.
Yeah, he's kind of a jack of all trades. That when he was at Texas A&M, they had their own little position for him. And it's kind of like that in Denver with Jack Del Rio. He kind of has like his own position. But their defense won't change that much in that last year they ran a whole lot of nickel, probably like 65% of their snaps was nickel defense, and that's 2 linebackers and 4 D linemen. And in that situation, they had Miller at defensive end. And like I was just saying about the next man up will be Shawn Phillips, who will be defensive end and nickel, and he's a really good pass rusher.
Jon Heath joining us from MileHighReport.com here on Yahoo Sports Radio. And like you mentioned, Jon, looking at the Broncos' schedule in that first 6 games, it's not that tough of a schedule. You look at the Week 1 game with Baltimore, Dallas is in there. What do you think the Broncos' goal would be? Obviously, I know they want to go 6-0, but realistically, what can this team do in those first 6?
Realistically, I don't think they'll do worse than 4-2. 3-3 at worst, but I don't think that'll be it. I think they'll at least go 4-2, and I think they could hope for 5-1. I think the Giants in the road in Week 2 will be tough, and the Eagles could be a surprise team this year. They may be a little bit of a problem, but they're at home, so I'm not too worried about them. I think the Giants in Week 2 on the road will probably be their hardest game without him.
And when you look at the offensive side of the football, good news for the Broncos. Wes Welker was back at practice today. From what you've seen with Peyton Manning and Wes Welker so far, how do those two seem to be clicking on that Broncos offense?
They're clicking really well. Welker is by far the best route runner I've ever seen in my life. He's very... I never realized how fast he was either. He's very underrated as a speedy guy. He's very fast and very crisp with his routes, and they obviously have him in the slot, and they like a lot of him going over the middle, a lot of him doing outs and slants and drags, and he's going to fit right into the offense doing the role that Brandon Stokely had last year, but he'll be a lot better because he's a lot more talented of a player than Stokely.
Jon Heath joining us from MileHighReport.com here on Yahoo Sports Radio. We heard the highlight coming back in from the break, Demaryius Thomas getting that touchdown from Peyton Manning, talking about Wes Welker. When you look at this Broncos wide receiver core, how do they stack up against other teams' receiving cores around the NFL?
I'm probably a little biased here, but it's hard for me to think of another team that has that talented of a group of three receivers, and then when you throw Julius Thomas in at tight end, who's bound for a very big year. Peyton really likes him in the red zone. He's a huge target. When you add those three receivers and then Thomas at tight end, and then the three running backs they got in the backfield, they're going to be very good on offense, and I honestly can't think of a team that has more talented weapons than them, especially at receiver.
And we all know the big news, of course, was Welker going to Denver and leaving the Patriots. In New England, we all could expect Welker was going to get 100 catches year in and year out. And there's been talk around the Broncos saying that Welker probably not a 100-catch guy this year simply because of all the weapons that Peyton Manning has. When you look at Welker, what do you think the expectations are as far as catches, touchdowns, and yards for him this year?
I could see him in the 70 to 80 catch range, and Thomas in like the 90 to 100, and Decker in the around the same 70 to 80 catch range as Welker. And then Julius Thomas is also going to be factoring in there. As far as touchdowns and yards, it's hard to say, but like you said, he's not going to be getting the same amount of targets as he did in New England because he was Tom Brady's number one guy. He had like 170 targets last year. He's not going to get that in Denver. But he'll be their slot guy. He'll, in between the 20s, people talk about him in the red zone a lot, but in between the 20s is where he'll earn his paycheck. He'll help the Broncos move the ball. Then when they get down in the red zone, Manning will be hitting Julius Thomas at the tight end position, and Demaryius Thomas is his big receiver he likes to hit.
Jon Heath joining us from MileHighReport.com here on Yahoo Sports Radio. When you look at the Broncos, Peyton Manning's second season out there, everybody is talking about the Broncos as a possible Super Bowl team. With Peyton in his second year there, I would assume that there's lots of pressure in the Denver area. How much pressure is on Manning and this Broncos team this year?
There's a whole lot of pressure. I think people will be disappointed if they don't at least get to the AFC Championship game because they're expected to go all the way. So if they do, it'll be like, great, that's what you were supposed to do. And if they don't, it'll be a disappointment because they're one of the hottest teams in the AFC right now after the offseason they had getting Welker and Manning returning from. They brought in Manning last year and he'll be coming back. Their expectations are very high for them as far as the fans go and the rest of the outlook across the NFL.
Jon Heath covers the Broncos for MileHighReport.com. Jon, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate your time.
Sure thing.
That's Jon Heath from MileHighReport.com.